So hello and welcome to 10 things no one tells you about being on set. And if someone has told you this, then just let a girl have her views. But let's go. So I thought I'd give a bit of a reason for why I'm making this video, and if you don't care, you can just skip along. So I'll leave timestamps below to the different points, so you can just skip through this video as you like. But I feel like I've noticed as I've moved through the industry, like I've done maybe like 50 days of background work across like TV shows, people's independent projects. I have performed as an actor in 8 different short films. I've done a couple music videos, and I feel like there's a lot of etiquette and words that people don't know. And I think Claire, actually, shout out to Claire, pointed it out in the comments that like not everyone will know every term. So I feel like maybe I've got a bit of imposter syndrome making this, because I'm like, there's so many much more experienced people, even that I know personally, who might come across this video. But I think I've still been on sets, and I think it's nice to be able to share stuff, and it's not with the intention of making you feel bad if you don't know stuff, but just it's nice to be able to have open conversations about some of the stuff that I've learned. So let's go. So I think the first thing that a lot of people don't realize is that if someone's holding an umbrella over you, if you're like background or an actor, like it's not for you. Because some people will be like, oh no, it's fine, like you don't need to hold an umbrella over me. But like if it's raining, for continuity, they need to be sure that like your hair and your makeup and your costume are kept dry for continuity. So that is just a part of being on set, is that you have to just accept that. And the second is something that I learned when I was on my first student film, and it's about crossing the line, which I think is a filmmaking term. Like if you drew a circle around people, like you can have the camera on this side of you but not on like the circumference around this side, so that means that then we're filming over this shoulder, my shoulder here, and also their shoulder there. I think there's certain times when people break this rule, and I may not understand it. I'm not a filmmaker, but it basically means that then like if we're filming over this shoulder, then that like we're always on the same sides as each other. We're not gonna like reverse the image and confuse people subconsciously. But I think there's also times when things are filmed in the round, from my research, where like you might film from all angles and you might not obey the line rule of like filming on this half and not on that half, and that can really disorientate the viewer of the film. So that's something interesting. Like you can always break filmmaking rules for a creative reason, but that's just something that I didn't know. But I think I can't really explain it very well, so you'd probably be best to Google it and then come back to this video. Something else I didn't know is what ADR is. I think it's automated dialogue replacement. I've just googled it because I feel like it's something that people, even people on set, they're like, what's it stand for again? And then sometimes it's like a recurring event in my life to re-google what ADR is, and then it comes up with alternative dispute resolution or something, which is some legal term, and then you're stuck trying to Google it. So I think it's fine to not know, but it's basically where like if there's like a noisy scene, or like the dialogue isn't usable in a take, then you often like dub yourself and re-record the lines, and then it gets synced up to the original footage. So this happens a lot in TV and film, and maybe people know that already. And leading on from that, fourth point is that like you have to mime a lot in the background, because otherwise, like if they're recording dialogue, your voice is going to disrupt that. So when people have to have conversations, it's often mimed, and that also goes for like if there's any kind of like football in the background, or like if someone's sweeping a floor, like you can't be making noise with that because it will mess up the audio. So lots of stuff has to be quietened down. And then fifth is, I didn't know what a wild track is, and I feel intimidated trying to explain these terms, but a wild track is where like you might record the ambience of a room, or you might record like if there's backgrounds, you might actually record on location and on site, after filming the scene, some of the actual background noise, like what it sounds like in that space, if people are actually talking or actually making the reactions that are mimed, just so in the edit you have that kind of like atmospheric sound recorded from the actual space where the scene was filmed. And the sixth point is one that I unfortunately learnt the hard way when I was on a lyric video, and I probably won't reveal what project exactly it was, but it's no shade to the project. I had a beautiful experience, got a free croissant, got shown on BBC Breakfast behind the scenes. Like, it was an incredible day with an incredible team and an incredible, like, musical artist. And it was a privilege to be a part of that project. But dancing in the background of a music video in the heat, I was filming it, and then I thought about what I'd just done, and the regret crossed my face before like we'd actually cut, because sometimes they like to leave the cameras rolling a bit and see what happens in the moment after, and like it's a quirky little thing sometimes in a music video to leave the cameras rolling and then everyone's like moving out of that kind of space and that vibe. Or sometimes in a scene the cameras can be left rolling so we see that moment for a bit longer, and until you hear cut, don't break out of it, because otherwise your embarrassment at what you've just done will be visible on the actual project, and that is incredibly bad. And it's a story to tell. And my friends were like, if you're ever on some kind of chat show, Graham Norton, like that would be a great story, a great opportunity when you're famous, but like it's just not, not what you're meant to do. And I think once you make that mistake once, you won't make that again. Something else I learned through observing the art department actually was that sometimes you'll get like cabinets or tables that are brand new for a scene. So they have to like kick them, like make them look all bad. And there's something, it sounds a bit weird actually, like I think it's called like dirty down spray, and you spray it on and it makes it look more worn, because if all the furniture's like brand new and it's not meant to look like that in the scene, then it might be a bit jarring. Like I think we often don't give enough credit to the art department and just how much they do. And a very common misconception is that people think that you need to be like a trained actor, or have some kind of training in order to get background work and extra work. You actually don't. And another thing that I have noticed from being on set is just how much like reflections or shadows cause takes to be unusable. I think it's something I didn't really think about so much before. But like there's the boom, which is like the big mic on the big post, and like that can cause shadows, especially if you're filming in winter and there's like really strong lights, then that will have shadow that then like you don't want that on the like the back of the wall or like on your actors' faces. So working on that and working on trying to get a setup with that and not have that be an issue, like that's something that I didn't think so much about before I was on set. And the final thing is just how changeable things can be on set. Like you might think that you're filming a certain set of scenes one day, and then like that all gets changed because of the weather or any kind of reason. Like maybe there's rewrites that can happen up until the last minute, and it's like, can you say this line instead of this line? Like so much changes in a way that I think it's not really so much the same in theatre, but it's a different vibe being on set, and things can change at the last minute and you've got to be very flexible, and it's very long days. And yeah, it's a really interesting experience, and I feel blessed to have had so much time on set. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget how much you've learned from these experiences, and how much of like these terms aren't in everyone's general vocabulary. Because I think sometimes I speak about certain jobs and certain things and people are like, what is that? And you forget that like just because you're talking about that, sometimes not everyone knows what that is, and that's not a bad thing, and that doesn't make me better than other people as well. Like, don't misinterpret me, don't cancel me. But yeah, I think it's really interesting and I feel blessed and grateful. Let me know anything I've got wrong in the comments. I'm like scared for the reaction of this video, but let me know anything I've got wrong. Let me know anything you've learned. Let me know if you have just like any questions, anything you want to chat about. Like, this is an open space for us to be able to talk. But obviously, like, there will be probably certain stuff that I can't say about, like, specifics of specific projects I've done, because otherwise I'd get into legal trouble. But there we are, and thank you so much for watching. Please also subscribe, because that's really helpful, and I should have probably said that at the start, but please do. And thank you. Bye.